sound so raspy. It's crazy. Welcome everybody to the Boston Concessions. How you doing? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, man. It's been a little bit. And I'm looking at scores. I'm looking at a couple other things. We're going to talk about a good amount of stuff. Because it's been a busy time going on in Boston. And I'm going to bring a lot of people back to like a lot of things going on. And I'm going to be okay with it. It looks like Kansas City is going to beat Washington 28-7. I'll do a refresh. Top of the 8th. Toronto and the Dodgers. It's the Blue Series. The World Series by the Toronto Blue Jays and also the Los Angeles Dodgers. Wow. Anybody call the Blue Jays being in the World Series? Max Scherzer, Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Wow. Who expected that? That's some hype stuff right there. So, well, as I said, I've got the laundry list. Clean out everything, do the laundry. Been a good amount. So we've got the Bruins to talk about. I don't even know what the heck to expect. It's pretty disgusting. The Celtics are not even on the mend, so what the hell. Patriots are basically the Mr. Brightside. So I'm basically going to demolish the harshness with like a lot of things going on with negativity right away, and then we're going to get to the positive stuff and try to clear up as much as we can. I don't have anything set up. I tried to. I've basically been, if you can hear me, I've been trying to rebuild my voice to where I can talk normal, get it out there, basically be in a let me just do it. And I didn't really set anything up, so it's kind of on me. But I'm going to start with the Bruins. So some people were, I don't want to say nostalgic for the Bruins themselves, but be that as it may, I'm going to go back like a little bit of a ways. I had a conversation with a friend, brought into a lot of things. Something brought up, there's something about the Bruins this year that just does not seem warm, so to speak. I mean, I'm looking at the stats. Even for like tonight. Tonight, they just got blown out. They came in 4-6, playing the Senators 4-1. And it's like they left their jocks wherever the hell they were. Okay? Completely blown out by the Senators, 7-2. Jeremy Swayman with 17 saves out of 24 shots. It's disgusting. But not only that, when your main person with shots on goal is Esamon, Corrali, and Zaka, Pasternak had one shot on net. One. Fraser Minton got an assist. Morgan Geekie got one goal. Victor Arvidsson got like another goal. Tanner Janot, an assist. It's lacking. Something's lacking. Oh, wait. Maybe it's because there's no star power. There's no direction. I'll come out and say it like I wanted to come out and say it. You know, someone brought up in front of me about how to put it. A lacking owner. I believe it was a absentee owner. And it's true. Charlie Jacobs showed himself with the disarray of how Boston fans basically put themselves out there and said, this team stinks. In a way that were correct. And then Don Sweeney went out per Cam's direction and said, perfect the team. Don brought back Sean Corrali. I believe Isamont was one of the other ones. But Isamont hasn't been the issue. I mean, if I'm looking at what you're seeing, was Sean Corrali a proper thing to bring back? No, not really. His plus minus is pretty bad. I mean, it's only at a +2. So I guess that's not bad. His career is -45. He's got a goal, 2 assists, 6 penalty minutes. Is he supposed to be a bruiser? Like, I'm not sure. But bringing in like Corrali, where you could have brought in somebody that could have been more of a leader. I mean, I'm looking at Isamont, and his is a lot better. His plus minus is -5, but he's got 2 goals, 3 assists. I mean, even he has 6 penalty minutes. I guess my point of this is, when you're bringing in nothing and you're expecting something, what exactly are you doing with the team? What are you hyping that comes up with this team? Where is your strength here? Because here's how I see the Bruins. You don't have a leader. I don't even think you have a proper coach. Not to the fact that I take away anything from Marco Sturm. I just don't think he's the right fit to do, whether you're doing a rebuild, whether you're doing something that makes this team a little bit more noteworthy to be on the ice. I don't see it. And there's a lot of things I do see that, especially when fans are in any which way, shape, or form, they want results. Me being a fan, looking at other fans, taking into what it is, I see that. Because I want something like, I want to be able to sit there and no matter what, be able to know who the captain is of this team, who's going to hold accountability on the ice for the team, who hypes the team. Like, if anybody's going to say, oh, Pasternak is looking to handle his stats. Okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's how I feel about Pasta. Is he the right hype man for the job to bring the Bruins up? No. That's why I can't even see him being labeled a captain. Assistant captain? Sure. You know, does he hold people really accountable for where they need to? Probably not. And in my eyes, when you get paid a good amount, it goes back to the... I'm going to cross sports here for a second. It goes back to the Rafael Devers situation. You're a hype man superstar. You get paid to be that. You get paid to be the big man on the ice. Lead. You know, Marchand was one of those guys that he went on the ice. He showed you what he could do. I don't really think he was captain capable. But in the, I can see, in the interest of it, I mean, he was the next one to come into play. Patrice Bergeron was one of those captains because people would follow him anywhere. Maybe Marchand had that little bit of tenacity. Would any of the Bruins follow David Pastrnak into battle? That's basically my overall question. Because it doesn't seem like they would do it with McAvoy. It doesn't seem like they would do with Jeremy Swayman. It just seems like there's something lacking, that not only leadership presence on how to accommodate, and previous players becoming coaches. There's never a problem with that. I actually condone that. I look forward to, you know, a coach who was a previous player who can walk the mindset of what you have in front of you. There's no denying that. There's no regrinding that. However, there's a lot of pieces that go into play that need to be structured. And especially when you're on the ice, you need somebody to... You need to get yourself situated. You need to get yourself in the mix. Hold down. But you need to be that director and have somebody that will do the direction for you on ice. And I don't think that Sturm has that capability. He can pretty much simplify and also magnify a lot of options with younger players. He did it in LA with the Kings, basically as an assistant coach. He also did it with a lot of youngsters overseas. But there's a lot that you don't, especially with the Bruins, it needs a delicate touch. It needs somebody who's more of a parental figure. I don't think Sturm is in that parental guidance because he has to be able to take on bigger people. Taking on David Pastrnak is one. Other guys that they would basically deal with or, put forward for, where they are. To me, it's looking at the past games. You had a 3-0 start. Everybody was playing the hype man. Oh, look at this. It's going. It's big. It's everything else like it needs to be. That's great. Talk to me in a couple games. Because teams are going to start getting themselves in a more luck situation where they start to get comfortable with playing. They start to get comfortable with doing that overload. And welcome to where they're getting. They're starting to get that comfort. And no matter what, no matter how, you thought 3-0 was comfortable. So what's your next follow-up with the next 3 games? It wasn't 3-0. You lost your next 3 games. And it wasn't until you actually beat an undefeated team on Saturday when you beat the Avalanche that you had your win. You actually did 6 straight losses. So your first 3 win. Your second 3 loss. So now you're 3-3. And then you pitch in another 3, you lose. Now you see where I say there's no direction with this team. And I'm gonna do what I like to do. I'm hitting Facebook. Why am I hitting Facebook? Because I'm looking at a 7-2 final score. And there's already 635 comments. And this is what gets me. Third line was the only one doing their best besides Pasta by himself. Someone corrected him, thankfully. He had 1 shot on net in 60 minutes. Your leading goal scorer has 1 shot in 60 minutes. Love the comment, though, afterwards. Pasta played tonight? Of course. Goal 7. 5 spectators on the outside watching the goal scorer on the doorstep. 5 spectators. Any defense at all. 7 goals, none were on an empty net. Swayman's back. And this goes back to like also a big play that I said. There's going to be a lot of Bobos that come out and they're going to make comments. Bobos to me being, you know, how did I word it to somebody? It's Boston boobs. I call them Bobos. Why? Because there's a lot of guys, like there's a lot of people that make comments that they sometimes don't know what they're talking about. In the aspect of when you look at Jeremy Swayman, everybody will go to him because now he's the paid goalie, he's the paid man. The fault, if you look at everything, if you're turning the puck over in your net and you're relying on your goalie all the time, you failed. If you're causing mismatches or you're sitting there just going, well, my goalie will handle it. Yeah, he can handle a certain amount. You still need to do your job. Get the puck. Get it out. Give him a break. See if he has like 4 shots on net or he's worried about everything going on and there's no communication. Guess what? That's part of the defense's strategy. Right now, the Bruins have no defense at all. They're not holding anything to the ground. And where everybody's hyped with Korpisalo, he's even worse right now. But it's quick how everybody points to Swayman. And the point of it is everybody did the point and click and blame to Tuukka Rask. Why? Because he was a $7 million man. Now the fact that Swayman's the $8 million man, and you've primarily gutted the defense that was in front of him, and it doesn't seem like these guys are even giving a pinch of what he used to have. I like this. Roses are red, violets are blue. They got 7, we got 2. Not like, look like D3 hockey team. Everyone's going to circle the games with the Bruins or the opponents for another reason. This game was actually a lot closer than the score indicates. They played hard, Swayman made some amazing saves, and the offense is really starting to gel. And if you've read this far, yes, I'm joking in every way possible. I mean, if I look at the box score, still 5-5, top of the 9th, 1 out. So just keeping hypes on the everything there. So it didn't start getting out of hand until the second. And then the third period just basically crashed and burned. You had 1-1 going into the first intermission. And then the second intermission, for whatever reason, it was boom, boom, there's 2 goals. You didn't answer, you didn't respond, you didn't do anything. Does this show? Okay, this doesn't show shots on net. It's lame. Shows me a game recap. I don't want to see that. You're gonna make me watch things. See if I can actually get a shots on goal. Here we go. $28 shots on net to 24. Now, normally the Bruins have 34, 40. So but looking at this is actually cool. Let me see if I can actually share this. Okay. So this basically shows. So the first goal was actually a power play goal. Which will show you where basically the breakdown was. So looking at that really quick, you get 24, passes to 85, dumps to 71. Look at 19 just sitting there, and look at 26. He's on the other side of Swayman. You left him alone. Then you got Claude Giroux in the second. Look at that. Where was the defense to that in order to help out Swayman? People want to point out, oh, it's Swayman sucks, he's Swiss cheese. Dude, if I'm looking at this, it started in a trend and goes right straight down. You pitch it right off past two people, your own man and a Bruins defender, and pops it in. Come on. No stick, no foot, no hand, nothing. This was the one I looked at afterwards. So this is, should have got it out. What's it doing to the front of the net to 19? Who's paying these twerps? Here it is. Here comes 19 out of nowhere. Sits in front of the net. Who's with them? Watch 20. You got 3 Bruins down. You've got 19 and 20 in front of the net. Who's monitoring that? You're going to put that on Swayman? You should have been playing the puck. Okay? If you're looking at this, they're basically doing a change. So you got 2 guys down the way. And there's 3 people handling that. And one of them leaves to leave 3 people in that zone. Let's see the other one. Here's the face-off. Kick. That one could be Swayman. Misjudged the look. This is actually quite humorous. But see, things like that. I think I can actually show this. I want to see. Was the Giroux? Yeah. See if we can get a look at this.
And Levi Merilainen will play it to the outside. Sanderson wheeling from his own zone. He shakes free of Morgan Geekie, who has Boston's goal. Now it's brought deeper in the zone. They tip it home! Shane Pinto at the top of the crease on a beautiful combination play. And it's Claude Giroux that was working out in front. And the veteran gets the goal.
Claude Giroux, I mean, he's had a great start to this game.
Look
How about
at
Sanderson here? Nice stick work there to keep that stick away from getting the puck and then making the play. And then Giroux is using the passer here. He's going to the net. And he's completely twisted up. But he's got his stick on the ice, and that's the key. Go to the
Hold on. Okay, that was the yeah. Lindholm, Callahan, fail. First off, this is the this is the part that like screams to me stupid. You've got number 20 who has no play on his man. He just basically got burned. You got Callahan tied up with his stick in the air when it should have been on the ground. And then you allow this from Lindholm. Where was your coverage to your man stick? And you're going to blame Swayman for that? For starters, you're tied up with your dude. You are not playing defense. You're playing stupid. What's the other one? Was it this one? Yeah. This one I want to see because I want to know where number 6, 52 and 73 doing like the swarm. And then watching everybody and their mother come in.
Boston's only down by one shot right here. You know what I mean? Like they have a great goaltender in Swayman, covers up a lot of their warts, but you can see what the coaches want is more than like how Ottawa.
Here's a chance, they score! Drake Batherson gets a gift. His second goal tonight. Ottawa with a 3-1 lead.
Pastrnak's going to get an opportunity here. He's got speed, finally arrives on the puck with speed, and as he attacks there, Merilainen makes a heck of a save, but then the Senators go to work. One play, then the pass across the ice, and now watch the white jerseys here. They all get sucked down there to try to make this play. They've had a tough time making plays out of their own end. 4 guys go to the goal line and not the right guy in front.
Look at that.
And that's a tough deep pair, Joe. You're just going to continue to make it tougher and tougher for them. And what a spot for...
Let him be. Yeah, there's a 50-50 shot that Swayman can make that. But when you're causing a turnover in your own zone, if anybody's watching YouTube and like to the fact that like I'm just replaying these, I'm going through them because in some way, shape, or form, they are quite sad. And I feel bad for goalies that have power play goals, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 power play goals. Take those 4 goals away. Take those 4 goals away, and you have a 3-2 game. So not only can you do a penalty, you can't do a penalty kill, but you can't do a lot of things that are controlling the game itself. And it is always stated, if you win most of the faceoffs, there you go. Penalty minutes. Bruins had 10. And Ottawa had 2. So 4 out of 5 is where you were for a power play. That's sickening. Sickening. That is not something that you go proud of. Nowhere should you be proud of that. That is an absolute disgust with everything in itself. And when people sit there also on Facebook and everything else, they do the keyboard warrior thing, and you want to blame Swayman for that? I can't think of any goaltender where you've got 3 guys down in the way and you're doing these absolutely ridiculous turnovers, and you got a guy just sitting in front of the net, pass me the puck, because now you're going to get the goalie completely off center. But that guy, he's wide open. Wide open, clear as day. And if you can't score on that, then yes. But that should have been like a no-brainer that somebody was putting that in. The other one where it was like crisscross between 2 Bruins who had no defensive pairing at all on what they were looking at. Failure. By the way, I'll say it again. Failure. This team has offensive prowess that they can turn on and off. Their defensive prowess is nowhere to be found. McAvoy is not even showing to the fact of like who he is, what he's capable of. And it gets kind of sickening, because the more you're going into it, the more every single time, especially I read it, it's anybody upon anybody who wants to say, oh, Swayman's the failure. No. Point to your defense. When your defense leaves your goalie hanging the way I just showed those 3 plays, those are 3 goals. 2 of them weren't even power play goals. But you look at those 3 goals, and those were controllable. Your goalie can't stand on his head and expect to hold dishes all night. You, as defenders, have to put some sort of effort in there to show and do what is needed. And this is not what is needed. Okay? Can I see the Bruins right now being probably a bottom of the barrel defensive team? Yes. Should it be that way? No. You have 2 aspects that I'm still waiting for Sweeney Weenie to get off his ass and actually do something proper. One of those steps is to create a building block where within the next year or two, you get back to a promised land that defies or defines Bruins hockey. I don't think you're going to get there with Sweeney at all. I don't think you're also going to get there with Marco Sturm. I think he's going to fall short of the barrel. Because Sturm is a type of coach that you need to teach. You need to nurture. He's in that level. He handles that level. I don't think this team, especially for how it's somewhat built, is going to be on the nurturing kick. If you had 85 to 90% youngsters and it's, hey, I'm going to sit with the elders and I'm going to sit with the guys who have been here a little bit. And I want to tell them we want to do A, we want to do B, we want to do C, and we want to gradually get into everything with you. Not lay a fart that blows out and next thing you know, your pants are full of crap. Because it's basically what the Bruins are doing. The Bruins are igniting, and this is where Charlie Jacobs got brought up earlier. They're igniting what they didn't want to do within their town hall meeting and be savants. The way you can see it is they played a really good game against Colorado on Saturday. They kept up with them. They did everything they needed to. They knew what they were looking at. They won the game. Perfect. Defense was stellar. It was on point with everything going on. That needs to happen every night. If you're going into one game on a Saturday and it's like, yay! And then here it is 2 days later and you're doing this against Ottawa and it's like, what'd you show up for? Where was your gusto? Where was your anything? It didn't seem like you brought anything. To me, that's an overall fail. Switching tracks, the Celtics have not been an offset team either. 3 straight losses. 76ers, the Knicks, the Pistons. You then had the game, which was tonight. You had a Zion-free Pelicans team. That this team was strong rebounds. Thankfully, you played a game, you went out, and you rebounded the crap out of everybody. And especially rebounded the crap out of the Pelicans. So, you stepped up. You woke up. But that's also what you needed. Josh Minot, 15 points. Jaylen Brown, 15 points. Anthony Simmons, 25 points. Luka Garza, 16 points. But here's where I have a slight issue. So your top rebounder was Nimius Queta. Big guy, perfect. Go for the ball, get it. When Sam Hauser, who 6'7", should be showing something of grabbing a board, he's only got 3. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, they're smaller than him. Josh Minot he's about an inch taller than him. If I'm looking, yep. He had 7. I mean, he had 9. Jaylen Brown had 7. Baylor Shireman and Anthony Simmons had 6 each. And Simmons is 6'3". Your bigger men are not getting rebounds. Well, weight is a different category. It's huge. But if I go into each of these 76ers and Celtics, here's the stats. Celtics had more rebounds by 2. Sam Hauser, 2 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 6 rebounds. Xavier Tillman, 7 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard with 5 rebounds. Almost like one of the smallest men on the court is holding big men down. Nimius, he's got 8. Okay, that's that game. The Knicks, $37 rebounds to the Knicks 53. Queta held down with 7. Peyton had 5. Jaylen had 4. Hauser had 3. White and Boucher had 4. Tillman 3. Hugo Gonzalez had 4. By the way, top of the 10th, 2 outs. Still 5-5. Let me look at the Pistons. Let me see how this went. Total rebounds, 38 for the Celtics. 55 for the Pistons. You wonder why you're losing games. You're throwing up 45 threes. You had 42.6% field goal percentage, 33% in 3-pointers. But do you really need 45 threes? Sometimes it's just pop a 2, pop another 2. Get yourself into a rhythm. Drop a 3. Is it something that Joe Mazzulla is forgetting here? Or is every coach just fire happy? There's a 3. Whee! There's another 3. Why? Why do you need so many 3s? You don't. And the other thing is, I've seen, I haven't been able to catch the Celtics games, but reviewing them as much as you do, and when you watch it, something about the team just looks lost. It doesn't seem like they're gelling properly with without Tatum, it seems like they're on another plane of existence than what you see with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown also doesn't seem like he's a huge number one. And I know this is going to bring up the poop aspect, but he just doesn't also seem like he's a number two. He's a great scorer. He's good at times facilitating. But there's just something about the way he controls a game, especially when you're the superstar on the court, kind of lacking. It's kind of like they don't want to follow. And that could be a big thing, because if I had to give Jaylen Brown a giant contract, and my whole aspect is, Jaylen, I need you to go out there, control the team, make everything go as it needs to be. But I need you to step up. I need you to be that man who is the floor general. Kind of like the guy that, works at Burger King, and he gets told, okay, you got to rally the troops. We're going to have like a busy lunch. We've got a special to where, like, you get any Whopper deal, you're going to get some nuggets. So we need to make sure that nuggets are constantly made. Man signs off, gives you like the salute, goes in and goes, all right, everybody, we need nuggets. Big day. Nuggets. Are you going to properly take direction from him? You want somebody that walks in and goes, listen, it's Nugget Day. Buy a Whopper, get a free 6-pack of nuggets. We need to make sure nuggets are made constantly. You see 3 down, throw 6 in. Make sure to get everything rotating. But talk to them as human beings. Break it down, be like, okay, we got a game plan. We need somebody popping nuggets. We need somebody watching and seeing how many go out the door. When you see 5 go out the door, make sure 10 are dropped. This way we can replace the 5 and to make sure there's another cycle of 5, because the other 5 that are set up are probably going to go right out the door again. We're going to be pushing Whoppers because people are going to come in and want Whoppers to get the 6-pack of nuggets. So everybody got their game plan. And you want to put people on the strengths of it. Jaylen Brown just seems to be, where's my direction? Maybe it's the beginning of the year. Maybe it's just something that he's not entitled with. But he seems flat. I know I'm using that term a lot. But when you're looking at players that should be Jaylen Brown, should have 20, 30 points a game. I don't think I've seen that out of him. I now kind of want to look. 76ers versus Celtics. He had 25 points. Because Derek White had 25. Quaida had 17. Pritchard had 16. Simmons had 13. Okay. That's a good start. He had 23 against the Knicks. Hauser had 18. White had 15. Simmons had 10. Pritchard had 8. But then again, he was rebounding the ball and also assisting like at the time. Okay, so 2 games at, 20 plus and 20 plus. Then we got the Pistons. He popped 41. 21 from Pritchard, 15 from White, 12 from Simmons. Where the breakdown was in that game, I have no clue. But 41, it's a good tone. This one here, though, where they played the Pelicans, he had 15 points. Simmons was the one who came off and scored 25. Luka Garza was the one who scored the other. He had 16. Pritchard had 18. You're seeing guys that, like, maybe they're not getting something done. Maybe they're not, like, taking care of what they need to. Something just doesn't seem right with that team. Looks like we've got bottom of the 10th, one out. There's a man on first as he was just hit by a pitch. Max Muncy's up to bat. He pitched by Jeff Hoffman. Like Will Smith is on first. Got the everything going on right here. So I posted this as it was kind of a gag at first. I posted this on X, but my question I want to know is, when the Bruins hit the halfway point of the season and then the Celtics hit the halfway point, who's going to be the worst team? It's going to be the Celtics? Is it going to be the Bruins? That's what I want to know. I want to know where something is failing and where something needs to be adjusted. Because looking at that, one of those teams is going to be worse off than who knows? They could be neck and neck, showing each other, be like, "You think you're worse? I'm tying you." It's either the Bruins are going to be the bottom of the barrel, where you just don't want to know everything going on, or the Celtics are going to be basically the bottom of the barrel. It's already stated as a joke that they're already the number 3 for the lottery draft. If you're thinking that at the beginning of the year, that's pathetic. Because everybody's already screaming, "Oh, Tatum coming back, Tatum coming back." Do you get Tatum back at this point? Do you do anything that's going to hold that quota in any which way, shape, or form? If the season is lost, haven't talked this much in a while. If the season is lost, I'll tell you flat out, you don't bring Tatum back. You let him heal the whole year. Next year is a arriving point where he comes back stronger than ever. If you're inbound to make playoffs, even if you're a wild card, you kind of put a 50-50 into there. If you turn it around and you're primarily second or third, you're doing really good, you have a push to get into the playoffs. If he's strong enough, you have him run in there. Wow. First and second. 2 outs. Just been looking at this game right now. We can listen live on Fox, but I don't want to drive people nuts. Well, oh, Edmund fouled out. It goes to the top of the 11th. Well, here's the part that I wanted to talk to people about so badly. How are the Patriots doing again? I remember before the season, people were not big on Diggs. They weren't sure what type of person he was going to be. People were not hyped up on Josh McDaniels coming back as an offensive coordinator. You've also felt to the fact that Mike Vrabel was not going to be a proper fit, and that in any which way, shape, or form, there was a better option for coach out there than what you have now. I said Vrabel should have been the guy. I said Josh McDaniels coming in will have a little bit more control just on offensive wise. But I think both of them working together will get a good blend with this team. And Stephon Diggs will be something of hype that'll draw out. Now the question is the offensive line going to hold? Not only is the offensive line going to hold, but is the defense going to step up and actually make bigger plays? Also, what can you do on special teams? When I could say any of those have basically hit the plateau that has just shocked everybody, especially the play of Drake Maye. Is it MVP caliber? It's up there. Is it something to watch? Yeah. He's doing in his second year what Tom Brady didn't even do in his fifth. Higher percentage, higher downfield, more control. There's a little bit more where he's making those comparisons, and you have more step-ups down the field. And just the manner he's going about to get the long ball down there. And it's not like he's just chucking up and oh, here it is. Whee! He's got matchups, precision, and everything else that he's making strides for that are basically looking really good. The benefit also is Stephon Diggs, the leadership, control, and the want to grow is right there, and it's huge. You can feel the radiance just coming right off it. The biggest people to take heed of that are probably Mac Hollins and Kayshon Boutte, because they're making probably what you'd expect monumental strides. Maye to Boutte has been probably one of the better aspects, because I think Kayshon Boutte has 5 touchdowns. That in itself, Hunter Henry has a couple, and you'd think Maye and Hunter Henry would have that really good, mix, kind of like what Hunter Henry had with Mac Jones. And it's more on a level of Drake Maye is not only siphoning in Hunter Henry, he's pulling in Austin Hooper. He's working really well with, like I said, Kayshon Boutte. Demario Douglas is kind of there, kind of not. But also Mac Hollins being like the huge step up, where like, hey, we signed this guy, now what's he gonna do? And he's been all over the place. I love that. It's what's needed. It's what you're holding with. It's perfect. Your run game needs to be a little bit better, but that can be worked on over the season. You can get better. You can always trade. And of course, it's the hurtful part of Antonio Gibson being out for the year. Kind of doesn't give you that option back. Henderson should be on a learning curve, getting better. Although he did look like the better back on Sunday. And I think he needs to be given a couple handoffs and saying, here, do something with this. He's very explosive. And I think if he got his wings out, you would see exactly what type of explosiveness he can do. He was beyond explosive at Ohio State. I think right now he's just trying to find his footing of where he belongs in the NFL. Once he does that, he's probably off to the races, and you'd probably see what's his name probably do like just the back end. It's escaping my name right now. Like, I freaking hate it. Ramondre Stevenson. Thank you, nobody. But yeah, Ramondre Stevenson had 14 carries for 34 yards. Trevion Henderson had 10 carries for 75 yards. And Mac Hollins led receiving, 89. Kayshon Boutte had 3 for 75. And for whatever reason, it doesn't look like Stephon Diggs is hunting for touchdowns. I think he's hunting for wins. And when you have a game where you're like 32-13, it's beautiful. 422 total yards for the Patriots. 245 passing yards. I don't know how that's possible, considering Drake Maye himself had 282 yards. 18-24. Although Dylan Gabriel wasn't bad. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He was 21 for 35 at 156 yards. But player stats Browns wise, top guy to run was Corley. He had 1 carry for 31 yards. After that, nobody had anything. The receiving was Harold Fannin Jr. 6 receptions for 62 yards. And this is a funny take. So I'm driving home and I'm listening to Felger and Maz. And one of the things that Maz brings up that is a perfect antidote to wanting to know a little bit more about what other people think about the Patriots game. Had no idea that Jerry Jeudy was on the Browns. No idea. You know why? He was covered by Christian Gonzalez most of the game. So your corner, shut out those wideouts. That's amazing. But I'll bring up also a little bit of a curve. While I sat here when the season started, a lot of people still thought to the fact that like this team wasn't going to go anywhere. And it's just kind of one of those have faith, open up, see where it goes. What's the worst that happens? You go a little bit and things go on the wayside. Well, you get to the first game. All right, you lose to Oakland. That's fine. Was it just something wrong? Was something out of place? And it wasn't like it was a monumental overblown score. It was just 20-13. Touchdown needed? Sure. Get you back into it. However, they just fell flat. Then you go into Miami. First off, that's a dumpster fire right there. Miami itself right now in the year is just pure dumpster fire. They're 2-6. That is just a pure trash. But yeah, Drake Maye went in, threw 2 touchdowns, led the Patriots past the Dolphins. Okay. And after the Brady era, you haven't really gone down to Miami and won. And it's not like Mike McDaniels is big head coach. Because if I'm looking at it and curveballing for one moment, because one of the curveballs I've basically been doing is this. I said Brian Flores was a positive coach for the Dolphins. The only thing he did not believe was basically that Tua was the heir apparent to be that quarterback in Miami. And looking at the AI overview after looking this up, because questioning Brian Flores with Miami, his first season was 5-11, which you can grant and understand. You're taking over a team that is not proper. They need culture change and they need a growth. Well, you went from 5-11 to 10-6. That's culture change. That's Brian Flores. That's doing something right. Did you have a losing season the following year? No, you went 9-8. He was fired after the 21 season. And from there, McDaniel took over. McDaniel has been riding the coattails of what Brian Flores was building in Miami. Because now you're seeing the stutter step of a downfall that is somebody's project that someone took over, took height for, and is now trampling down. Is McDaniel a proper coach? I mean, he's okay. But I think when you come down to it, he lands on his face. And his press conferences are, oh dog. But that could be for another time. Your third game is Steelers-Patriots. First off, Drake Maye basically destroyed Aaron Rodgers. Anybody want to say to the fact that Aaron Rodgers was great? 16 for 23, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Well, Drake Maye was 28 for 37, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Drake Maye also led the team in rushing with 45. Hunter Henry also had 90 yards receiving that game. So, option-minded, the Steelers basically put more points on the board, but only by 1. 21-14. Patriots then played the Panthers. 42-13 was the final. Drake Maye did a smidge on it. Run game, again, non-existent. Stephon Diggs, 101 yards receiving without a touchdown. Which stinks. Biggest game, Patriots going in playing the Bills. Now, the Bills are no nonsense. Go in, make everything to what it is. Drake Maye didn't have a touchdown that game. Ramondre Stevenson had 2 rushing touchdowns. Stephon Diggs had 146 yards. Damn. Drake Maye also didn't throw an interception. Josh Allen did. Maye also threw for more yards, 22 of 30, and Josh Allen was 22 of 31. Basically, you're seeing blow after blow between both of these guys. And this is what's going to make the AFC East by far one of the best things you're going to see. But at the end of the day, the Patriots not only beat the Panthers, but they went and beat the Bills. Mind you, the Bills went and lost another game, and then they won this week. You then go into New Orleans, and you do something that the Patriots have not done in years. You do 3 road games, and you win all 3 road games. Because yes, they went in New Orleans, 25-19. They won by 6. Drake Maye again, 3 touchdowns. Spencer Rattler, 20 for 26, no touchdowns. Again, highest rusher on the team, Drake Maye. Trevion Henderson had 27 yards. And then Ramondre had 18. But in that, Kayshon Boutte had 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Demario Douglas had 71 yards and 1 touchdown. So, Stephon Diggs is pumping people up in a proper manner. And it's showing where you basically have that pump. It's good. It's very good. Then, of course, you played the Titans. That was on the 19th. Basically rocked them 31-13. You can't say anything bad about this team right now. You know, are there methods where they can get better? Absolutely. Is there step-ups where they can be a little bit more to the norm, where you want to be higher on the poll for where you're looking? Yeah. The one thing that I think brings to mind is, and I said this hugely at one point, but I still go down to body language makes all the difference in what you look at. And in the method, when you look at Gerard Mayo, I don't think he meant to do anything bad. I don't think he was overall a bad manner. But there's just something about Gerard Mayo that didn't meld or didn't flush properly with what the Patriots wanted to do. There was also something of his body language where it was, I think, the way he was presenting himself was kind of falling flat with everybody around him. And it's not really a good look. It isn't. If you see the difference between Gerard Mayo kind of being, even after like really good plays where you can hype up the team, he's just kind of got his I'm gonna be Bill Belichick, and it's great job, Now look at the difference between Gerard Mayo to Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel wants everybody involved. Mike Vrabel wants to, dude, you got 2 yards. You went out there and did exactly what you needed. You saw what you had and you utilized it. Now, when we go back to it, we want to give you 6 yards and have more faith to the fact that you're going to be able to carry this. Mike Vrabel is a hype man. And I think the hype man is what you need in the locker room. Stephon Diggs is not only a playmaker, he's a hype man. And you're seeing it with what is being done on that field. Vrabel is also a hype man. Drake Maye is a hype man. Every single time you see any one of these guys, they're wanting to get better. And they want to give better to the team. When somebody asks do you feel Mike Vrabel was a perfect fit than, say, Ben Johnson? Well, the difference of what I look at is, if I look at the Bears right now, the Chicago Bears in the standings are 4-3. Are they a 4-3 team? Maybe. They did just lose to the Ravens, a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens, which doesn't have a really good look. Because you beat the Saints, you beat the Commanders by 1, which I don't even know if they had Jaden Daniels at that game. Yeah, they did. And Jaden Daniels, 3 touchdowns. But you're beating a team that is wiping the floor with you by a score. So you're basically getting out of there with the skin of your teeth. Did you shut Jaden Daniels down? No. He scored 3 touchdowns on you. You got a pick, but that's it. DeAndre Swift is basically your manner of running back, and he's throwing up 100 yards. Great. But when he's also leading your team in receptions, it's kind of like, what the heck's going on here? All in all, they're not a bad team, but the difference, I think, between Brian Johnson and Mike Vrabel is Vrabel's coached. Vrabel has that tenacity, knows what he's coming into, and knows what he needs to deliver. In that manner, that is speaking volumes, because he knows what to pull out of his team. He knows what he can get out of his guys, especially when looking at them, working with them, and making sure everything is exactly where they need to be. There's just something about Mike Vrabel when you talk to him. He wants you to be a part of it. Whether you're the fly on the wall, you're there watching, listening for a reason. If you're an intern, not even getting paid, but you have to pay attention, he's treating you like you're there getting paid and being on the control part where it's a proper thing. No person under anything goes unlooked with Mike Vrabel. That screams positive right there. But going back to the conversation of him versus Mayo, I think Mayo wanted to be a little bit more like Bill Belichick. Vrabel wants to be what he was on the field to what he was as an assistant to a tight end. Like, I believe he was either a tight ends coach or a linebackers coach. But all those pieces are what you need to, hey, we want to grow. We want to do here. And that got him to coaching status. When that gets you to coaching status, you didn't have a losing record in Tennessee. To my aware for what he wasn't losing in any which way, shape, or form in Tennessee. You had multiple years of going to the playoffs. You had Derrick Henry. You didn't have a strong quarterback either. You had Ryan Tannehill, who was on the secondary part of his career, ousted by Miami, comes over here, dominates a little bit when people thought he was washed. I mean, hell, you want to bring up like quarterbacks like that? Look at Daniel Jones. These are quarterbacks that are shown from broken systems. Even looking at Mac Jones. We joked about Mac Jones and how he played and what he was doing as a backup in Jacksonville. Now, was Jacksonville on the cusp of doing anything? No, not really. Is their number one overall pick the cream of the crop? No. Trevor Lawrence is looking more mediocre than there's someone here. Because the one thing I see is like looking at number one in Trevor Lawrence and then looking at another number one in Caleb Williams. Both of them I think are, can they put up numbers? Sure. I don't think they have the drive like a Jaden Daniels, like a Drake Maye, like a Bo Nix. Yes, Bo Nix. And granted, where is this going with this? Look at Vrabel. He is that hype. He is that man who brings it. Now look at the quarterbacks around him. Tannehill. On the low end. Makes him a high end. Even beats the Patriots on Brady's last stand. I think there's certain terminologies that when you get down to like looking at the New England Patriots, selecting Mike Vrabel as your next coach was probably the best thing you could do. Because bringing in McDaniels, who has a little bit more knowledge of, we can control this, we can do this, and we can make the offense exactly what it needs to be. But of course, when you're looking at other factors, Josh McDaniels can't handle being a head coach. But he can dominate fully as an offensive coordinator. And you're seeing that now with the Patriots. You're seeing everything hyped with the Patriots. It's what you want to see. It's what you want to carry. It's what you want to look at. I want to see that all day. I want to see that night and day. I want to see exactly what it needs to be. It's the reason also why they are where they are. And it's a great thing because aside from the fact of the people that, oh man, they're 1-3 right now. Oh, here's another bad season. I'm sorry, not 1-3, 1-2. And then all of a sudden now they're 6-2. Now the critics who have stated, oh, this team is bad. Well, you just see what the win-loss total is. And that's it. If you look at the game and you look at the scores, you'll see that it's not that bad. But you're making it out to be. That's the part that's faulty. That's the part that a lot of people look at and go, that does not seem to fit the narrative. Because, oh, they lost this game, boo-hoo. First game of the season, who gives a crap? You know? Second game of the season, you came in, you played good. All right. Then you went up against Aaron Rodgers, who's got a lot of weaponry, who's got like a lot of stuff, and you're still working out a couple kinks. Cool. Hey, guess what? We worked on those kinks now. What have we done lately? Well, we went from 1-2 to 6-2. Pretty good formula. Granted, look at where they were last year. Look at the dumpster fire they were last year. Look at the year before. You have more points of what you're carrying as a team, showing who you are and showing what your plan is, which is what Mike Vrabel is doing. And a lot of people thought, oh man, this rebuild is going to be so harder. It's going to be more ridiculous to deal with. Drake Maye in his second year is putting the narrative back on the map, and you have to be here for it. It's synopsis that you have to look at. Drake Maye is going to be here for a long time. But even Stephon Diggs, when everybody's like, why'd you sign him? Oh my God. Oh, you can dump him. You can do this. You can do this. Yes, you can. Question is, do you want to? That's where you have to start asking yourself, is this right? Does this seem fair? Does this seem on the ball? To me, this is a match. And picking anybody else besides Vrabel probably would have been a bad look. I don't think you would get the same options, because then without Vrabel, you really probably wouldn't have McDaniels back. Not having McDaniels back, you'd have a different looking offense. And I think that would hinder for Drake Maye. I think that would hinder for Keishon Boutte. I think that would also hinder for a couple other guys because there's no hype. There's none of that go get. There's none of that oomph, especially the kind that you need at the moment to basically be that introduction. I hope to God somewhere I'm making sense. I guess the thing I'm saying is, like, if they went with a different coach, you'd probably have a different narrative around Gillette, but you'd also have a different offensive coordinator. That could make or break how Drake's been doing, could make or break how Stephon Diggs is playing around. It could make or break how Keishon Boutte is actually growing more into a proper prime receiver. I mean, we're just coming up to like probably the halfway point of the season. Both Diggs and Boutte have like close to 500 yards. Standouts. I think Mac Hollins is even up there. Curious now. If I can actually see stats. Team stats. So Stephon Diggs has 470 yards right now. Keishon Boutte has 431. Matt Collins has 208. Hunter Henry has 317. And everybody has under 200. Ramondre has 169. Demario Douglas has 162. But then you go into rushing, and this is basically where the rushing aspect. Antonio Gibson has 106. And even though he's injured right now, Ramondre has 279. Trevion Henderson is 228. That's for the year. Drake Maye, though, 2,000 yards. 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So, in it, not bad. Robert Spillane has 2 interceptions. Marcus Jones has 2. Jalen Hawkins has 2. Martin Mapu has 1. So they're looking like they're doing proper. And in my eyes, that's what you need to continue pushing. So I'm happy. You should be too. But since I think I've talked enough, and it's actually putting a strain on my voice here. I thank you for tuning in. I know it's probably not like my better episode. We've had probably better, we've had worse. That's fine. But we'll probably bounce back. And we'll probably be like a little bit better going forward. It'll also give me like a little bit more time to focus on things where I'm not brain fogged. So if you listen to this episode, thank you much. And to everyone, have a wonderful evening, morning, noon, night, whichever it is. Good night, guys.